Silver Hollow gleamed under the moonlight. Fresh snow covered everything, creating a pristine blanket of white. Christmas lights twinkled like stars, casting a warm glow on the village. It was a perfect Christmas Eve, the kind that seemed to come straight out of a storybook. But something felt wrong. An unsettling feeling lingered in the air. The air felt cold, too cold, even for a winter night. The frost seemed to bite deeper, chilling the bones of anyone who dared to step outside. The silence was heavy, too heavy, as if the village itself was holding its breath. Not a single sound disturbed the stillness, not even the rustle of a winter breeze. This was the first Christmas without the Petersons. Their absence was palpable, a void that no amount of festive cheer could fill. They lived on Carroll Lane, the prettiest street in town. Their house was always the most decorated, the brightest. Then, they were gone. Vanished without a trace. The Peterson house stood empty, dark. Its windows, once filled with light and laughter, now stared blankly into the night. A silent reminder of the mystery that chilled Silver Hollow to the bone. The village, once full of life, now seemed haunted by the shadows of its past.
It started last Christmas Eve. The Petersons were putting up their decorations, happy, excited. Then, silence. No more carols from their house, no lights, nothing.
Neighbors found strange notes pinned to their doors. "Hush," they said. "The carols must stop."
The police investigated. They found no forced entry, no signs of a struggle. The Petersons were just gone. The mystery terrified Silver Hollow. The once peaceful village, now blanketed in an eerie silence, seemed to hold its breath. Every corner, every shadow, whispered secrets that no one dared to speak aloud. Rumors spread faster than the winter wind. Whispers of strange occurrences and unsettling sightings filled the air, carried from one household to another, growing more sinister with each retelling. Some residents claimed to see a shadowy figure near the Peterson house, a figure that seemed to vanish as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only footprints that led nowhere. Others heard faint singing, but only one voice, always off-key. The melody, haunting and melancholic, seemed to drift through the night, echoing off the snow-covered rooftops.
"A ghost, the silent caroller," whispered Mrs. Jenkins. Her eyes, though filled with fear, remained steady as she whispered the story of the shadows taking revenge on those who sing. Notes scrawled in a shaky hand warned of dire consequences for anyone who dared to lift their voice in song.
Her words sent shivers down everyone's spines. The villagers, once cheerful and full of song, now moved about in a state of constant dread, their voices silenced by fear. Was the silent caroler real, or was it just a tale spun to keep children in line? The question lingered in the air, unanswered, as the village prepared for another long, silent night. And what had happened to the Petersons? Their house, now abandoned and forlorn, stood as a grim reminder of the mystery that gripped Silver Hollow. It was a quaint, charming home nestled in the heart of a small village, surrounded by towering pine trees and blanketed in snow during the winter months. The Petersons were a close-knit family, known for their warmth and hospitality. They were known for their beautiful Christmas carols. Every year, as the first snowflakes began to fall, the Peterson family would gather in their living room, their voices harmonizing perfectly as they sang carols that echoed through the village. Their music brought joy and a sense of community to everyone who heard it. But then, something changed. They suddenly stopped singing. No one knew why. The once lively home fell silent, and the joyous melodies that had filled the air were no more. The village was left in a state of confusion and sadness, wondering what had happened to the Petersons. They just disappeared. To this day, the house stands empty, a ghostly reminder of the family that once brought so much happiness to the village. The villagers whispered among themselves, sharing theories and rumors about the sudden disappearance.
Former residents, now living miles away, told stories. They spoke of strange occurrences and eerie happenings that took place in the village after the Petersons vanished. Handwritten letters and old photographs were passed down through generations, each telling a piece of the mysterious tale. Stories of late-night singing coming from the woods behind the house, eerie, unsettling melodies. The villagers claimed to hear the faint sound of carols drifting through the trees, as if the Petersons were still singing from beyond the grave. The melodies were haunting, sending chills down the spines of those who listened.
The singing always stopped abruptly, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. The villagers would hold their breath, waiting for the next note that never came, followed by an unnatural silence, a silence that seemed to suffocate all other sounds. It was as if the entire village was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen, a silence that seemed to suffocate all other sounds. The villagers would look at each other with wide eyes, wondering if they were the only ones who heard the ghostly carols. The mystery of the Petersons and their haunting songs remains unsolved to this day, a chilling tale passed down through generations. This Christmas Eve, the fear returned. The notes reappeared on doors. "Hush," they warned. "They are listening." Then, the singing started, faint at first, drifting through the silent night. Only one voice, off-key, haunting. The lights in the Peterson house flickered, on, off, a cruel imitation of Christmas cheer. The silent caroler was back, and Silver Hollow trembled, trapped in a Christmas mystery that refused to die.